The National Weather Service is on scene surveying damage left behind by Monday's severe storm that caused extensive damage to the Louisa Walmart.
Storm cleanup is underway in Lexington after powerful winds toppled trees and damaged homes.
Still have a chance of rain later on this afternoon, but remember, it's not a great chance, not today. Those chances do increase the next few days, and we're going to get into that forecast coming up in just a few minutes.
WKYT News starts now with breaking news.
Good afternoon from WKYT News. I'm Barbara Bailey.
I'm Bill Bryant. Here's what's happening at noon. The FBI is recommending that presumptive Democratic nominee Hillary Clinton not face criminal charges for the use of a private email server during her tenure as Secretary of State. The FBI Director James Comey made the announcement less than an hour ago. It's ahead of Clinton's first scheduled campaign stop with President Obama. There was tough criticism of her use of email as Secretary of State. Marley Hall has the latest breaking details.
The FBI investigation into Hillary Clinton's use of a private email server while she was Secretary of State is over, and charges appear unlikely.
We are expressing to justice our view that no charges are appropriate in this case.
FBI Director James Comey said 110 emails Clinton sent or received were considered classified at the time, and while investigators found no criminal intent, Comey said Clinton and her associates mishandled the information.
There is evidence that they were extremely careless in their handling of very sensitive, highly classified information. For example,
that report from Marley Hall. Donald Trump is already tweeting his reaction, saying, quote, "The system is rigged. General Petraeus got in trouble for far less. Very unfair. As usual, bad judgment." Hillary Clinton has a campaign appearance later today with President Obama in North Carolina, and Trump will also campaign there in the Tar Heel state.
The National Weather Service is in eastern Kentucky at this noon hour, trying to determine if a tornado touched down there. Let's take a look at eyewitness video from one of our viewers of what appears to be a funnel cloud in Lawrence County. WKYT's Hillary Thornton is in Louisa now with the very latest. She begins our other top story team coverage at noon.
Well, cleanup is underway here at the Walmart in Louisa as employees work on getting the outside cleaned up. Emergency management and the National Weather Service are taking a look at the damage left behind, trying to figure out if a tornado is to blame. The severe storm blew through the area Monday afternoon, causing damage both inside and outside of the store. Today, associates not yet allowed inside the building are working hard getting the outside cleaned up as contractors and power crews focus on the badly damaged roof and getting refrigeration restored inside. Store manager Marty Bishop says they have unfortunately already lost a lot of food items, and their goal is to have the grocery section back in working order and open to the public by Saturday.
We were able to get the food banks in here as soon as the power went out last night, and we were able to donate quite a bit of the cold food and meat and things like that so it will benefit someone in the community, but it is a total loss for us.
Bishop says at this point it's just far too early to have any type of timetable as to when the store will be fully back open. He says until then their employees here will be able to pick up shifts at other nearby Walmarts. In Lawrence County, Hillary Thornton, WKYT.
Thank you, Hillary. No word yet from the National Weather Service on a cause. The team is still out on the scene right now, taking a look at damage left behind in areas surrounding the Walmart. The National Weather Service will also travel to southern Kentucky today to see if tornadoes or straight-line winds are to blame a path of destruction there. Emergency management officials say at least 7 homes were damaged in the Broadhead area of Rockcastle County. Our Phil Pendleton will have a look at that damage coming up in a report on WKYT News at 12:30.
Those storms also caused damage in parts of Lexington. Strong winds took out several trees on the west side of town, knocking out power to thousands of customers. WKYT's Mark Barber continues our top story team coverage now with the latest on the cleanup efforts there.
The family that survived the close call in this home here on Wolf Run Drive says the mother grabbed her baby out of the nursery right before a tree came crashing through the roof. cleanup crews are clearing the fallen tree, trying to remove 6 tons of debris that forced the family from their home.
Well, our job is to have this family go about their day and moving past this emergency from this storm that we had yesterday.
A tarp covers the hole where the toppled tree punctured a hole in the roof. 7-week-old twins and a 3-year-old slept in the bedrooms right below the collapsed roof. Fortunately, their parents were able to rush them to safety, so no one was hurt. Powerful winds downed large trees and many other yards in the neighborhood, but this house was hit the hardest. Cleanup crews are now trying to give the family one less thing to worry about.
We don't want them to come out and have to lift a finger. They're already dealing with a lot of stuff from insurance purposes, frightened children, and a scary aftermath. So we're going to clean everything up.
Cleanup crews hope to finish clearing the trees and debris this afternoon. It will take much longer for the family to figure out if and when they will be able to move back into their home. In Lexington, Mark Barber, WKYT.
Mark, thank you. A lot of damage out there. The family is staying with family in Bourbon County right now while they wait to see whether they will be able to live in their home again.
Well, more showers and storms will be rolling through the bluegrass over the next several days, dropping heavy amounts of rain. So when can we expect to dry out? WKYT meteorologist Micah Harris is live in our First Alert Weather Center now with details.
You know, it's going to be a while before we can actually dry out completely. We're not going to get it today. We're not going to get it the next few days because that's when we start to see those heavy bouts of rain slide on in here. You won't get extremely heavy rain today, and what I mean by that is that rainfall gauge will not start increasing big time. Could you get a heavy downpour? Yes, but in terms of just adding to what we felt yesterday, nah, you're looking outside and there is the look. You talk about popcorn showers popping up, bits and pieces, just kind of popping up here and there. That's pretty much what we're seeing. So when you hear that term, that's what we're talking about. I mean, just little bits and pieces of light showers as they pass on by. Frankfurt at 82, Jackson at 76. I mean, they could literally hit you and last 30 seconds and they're long gone. I mean, that's what these things do, and that's what we're going to be dealing with as we slide throughout the rest of the afternoon. A couple of rumbles of thunder. Focus of the forecast is not so much today. Even though today's not going to be fully dry, it's not about today. It's about the next few days as we see that rainy pattern ahead with 1 to potentially 3 inches of rain all the way through Friday. I'm going to show you where I expect that chance, and also what about your weekend forecast, because there is some good news in there. I'll have that coming up.
Okay, we'll take that good news. We'll see you in a bit.
Well, special donors and VIP ticket holders are getting a sneak peek at the new Ark Encounter Park in northern Kentucky.
There was a ribbon cutting ceremony this morning for the life-size Noah's Ark replica in Grant County before it opens to the public on Thursday. WKYT's Rebecca Smith is at our live desk with a preview. Rebecca?
In addition to the Ark, obviously, Ken Ham with Answers in Genesis was the big attraction of the ribbon cutting today over in Williamstown. He addressed his critics who claim his Ark attraction violates separation of church and state. A lot of the rub over hiring practices. Ken Ham says the workers will be required to sign a statement saying they're Christian. A federal court said that's okay, even with the state tax incentives. Ham thinks plenty of non-Christians will come out to the Ark, and he says all the hubbub over his Ark is prejudice against Christians.
It's the largest timber frame structure in the world, real timber, heavy timbers that you'll see in there, post and beam construction, built like a loaf of bread with series of slices that are bent. 100 Amish craftsmen. The craftsmanship is astounding as you look at it.
Ham went on to describe the Ark as an exhibit within another exhibit. Now, besides the Ark construction itself, Ham said he is proud of the fact that this is a Christian amusement park. He says it was just time to make this type of statement of Christian outreach. On the question of the controversy over the tax incentives, he said this is the reason for choosing the location of Williamstown, Kentucky, and not 1 cent of the construction of the Ark has come from taxpayer money. At the live desk, Rebecca Smith, WKYT.
Rebecca, thank you. They're expecting to hire about 400 seasonal workers. The grand opening of Ark Encounter, again, is Thursday in Williamstown. Well, friends, family, and followers are starting to say goodbye today to the founder of Southland Christian Church in Lexington. Visitation begins at 1 o'clock this afternoon for the Reverend Wayne Smith. It will be at Southland Christian Church's location on Harrodsburg Road in the main sanctuary, and it will last until 9 o'clock tonight. Another visitation will be held tomorrow morning to be followed by his funeral, both also at the church. and certainly anticipating crowds.
Oh, you can only imagine, because he was known and loved by so many people.
Right.
Well, a well-known Lexington bookstore is up for sale.
Wynn Morris, who is the owner of Morris Bookshop, says he either wants to sell the store or he says it will close for good. Morris and his wife have been talking about selling the store for several months. Their 5-year lease is up at the end of next month. The store began operations on Southland Drive in 2008 and moved to East High Street in Chevy Chase 5 years ago.
A local Kentucky artist is getting his hands dirty to help out the Bluegrass Airport. Damon Farmer created this sculpture using 10 tons of sand. It's in the lobby of the airport, promoting 3 new nonstop flights. You can now fly from Lexington to Savannah, Hilton Head, Baltimore, Washington, D.C., and Newark.
All right, quite a work of art with sand at the airport.
Get your attention.
Right. President Obama takes his first step out on the campaign trail, stumping for Hillary Clinton later today in North Carolina. We'll have the latest on the race for the White House coming up on Kentucky's #1 Midday News.
Also ahead, J-Lo and Hamilton star Lin-Manuel Miranda have joined forces to honor the victims of the Pulse nightclub shooting in Orlando. More on their collaboration next on WKYT.
Welcome back to WKYT News at noon. Italian police say they have detained a homeless man in the death of an American student.
Police identified the suspect as 40-year-old Massimo Gagliato. The body of Bo Solomon was pulled from the Tiber River yesterday. The 19-year-old student from Wisconsin had last been seen early Friday morning at a pub shortly after arriving in Rome. Solomon had recently completed his first year as a personal finance major at the University of Wisconsin-Madison. The Rio Olympics are now just 1 month away, but questions remain if the country will be ready. Crime, pollution, an unfinished subway, and the Zika virus are just some of the problems already plaguing the host city. And now there's a new concern to watch out for: raw sewage and what scientists describe as high levels of bacteria in the city's water supply. Meanwhile, police there are warning that violence is on the rise and officers have not been paid in months. Authorities, however, say athletes and visitors will be safe.
Lots of challenges there, certainly. Well, NASA is celebrating its history-making mission to Jupiter. The spacecraft Juno fired its main rocket and started slowing down late last night as it successfully entered orbit. Ground controllers at NASA erupted in applause when Juno beamed home news that it was circling Jupiter's poles. Scientists have promised close-up views of the planet during its 20-month mission. The goal is to study Jupiter's composition and learn more about that planet and the entire solar system. Well, the creator of the hit Broadway musical Hamilton is releasing some new music that you don't need a ticket to hear.
Lin-Manuel Miranda tweeted a teaser clip of a new track he recorded with Jennifer Lopez. The song is called Love Makes the World Go Round and is being released to benefit the families of the victims of last month's mass shooting at an Orlando nightclub. The up-tempo track features Miranda rapping the verses while Lopez sings the chorus. So far, an official release date for the song has not been announced.
Hillary Clinton could be off the hook for her private email scandal after the FBI recommends not to bring charges. I'm Joel Waldman in Washington. We'll have the details of that story straight ahead.
Now, your zone-by-zone forecast with meteorologist Micah Harris.
All in all, this is not a bad afternoon. It's one of those afternoons, if you need to get some yard work done, I would do it today, because the next few days we'll have much heavier rain. Not so much just widespread, one bulk of the action sliding on in here each and every day, because you will get breaks the next few days. But the next couple of days are more of your heavier downpours, as opposed to these pop-up little scattered showers here and there. I mean, literally, this is like your popcorn variety type of showers outside, just little bitty pieces here and there. These last 1-2 minutes, they're long gone. I mean, this is not much to this, but it's just spread out all across the region. There will be, however, a couple of rumbles of thunder as we approach the rest of the afternoon, so don't be surprised to see some of these heavier downpours kind of really get going here in just the next couple of hours. But little bits and pieces here and there. You can see those popcorn clouds, cumulus clouds that We like to call those. And look, they're going to continue to stay with us the rest of the afternoon. Temperatures are going to be in the low to mid 80s. Already 82 degrees in Lexington. We'll actually finish off in the mid 80s. Jackson's still sitting at 76 degrees. Reason being, look at the sky condition there. Yeah, it hasn't been looking all that well throughout the morning hours, so it's taking a little bit more time to actually get going with some of those temperatures. Rainfall forecast the next few days. This goes until Friday, so this is actually spanned out throughout the rest of your work week is 1 to 2 inches of rain. It doesn't sound very impressive, and it's really not, I mean, for the next 4 days. But I will tell you this, some of these storms that roll over us the next few days will be pretty impressive. And that is what these models don't take into account. One storm after another after another. So we could pick up from now through Saturday in a couple of isolated spots, 3 to 4 inches. That's pretty impressive. Then we get off towards your weekend. So Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, not looking all that great. Trying to make those plans there on Friday, even some of these backup plans for fireworks. There is a chance of rain during that Friday evening, nighttime hour. Then we hit the weekend, only a small chance of rain both Saturday and Sunday. If you're trying to reschedule some of those plans and you haven't been able to do it yet or haven't really had to make that call, I would do it toward the weekend. That's your best bet of staying dry, mid 80s. It's not fully dry, but that's your best bet at staying dry because only a small chance of rain for both of those days. All right, let's talk about your 7-day and to wrap it up for you, the summary of that 40% chance of rain the rest of the day. Just little pop-up showers, a couple of rumbles of thunder. No big issues out of that. Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, those are your rainy days, guys. But remember, it's on and off. It's wave after wave that we're going to be seeing. And then Saturday and Sunday, those are days that stay mainly dry. Not fully dry, but mainly dry. And those are days you can knock out some of those plans.
Okay.
For the weekend. We'll take that. It's okay timing. Not bad timing.
You're right about that. It does work out. All right. Thank you. We're back in a moment here on WKYT News. Some former Cats are out to prove they belong in the NBA.
Well, one team is showing the money to a Wildcat star. Dave Baker's next with sports.
And they're back trading on Wall Street today. The major market indicators, though, are down at midday.
After the NBA draft, many of the so-called experts questioned why Tyler Ulis had fallen to the second round. But judging by their actions, the Phoenix Suns, the team that took him, don't think he dropped at all. They think they got a bargain. According to Paul Coro of the Arizona Republic, the Suns will give Ulis the equivalent of a late first-round picks contract, even though he was drafted in round 2. That would start at about $1 million and have the same 2 guaranteed years with 2 team option years as a first-round pick. Before the season begins, the Suns will have to decide whether Ulis can be a third point guard as a rookie or if the team needs to re-sign point guard Ronnie Price. That's because of the up-in-the-air health status of Eric Bledsoe and Brandon Knight after multiple surgeries. Well, thanks to all these guys Cal's putting in the NBA, we have to keep a close eye on the NBA Summer League now. July 4th, Alex Poitras playing in his second pro game with the Orlando Blue facing the Pistons. In the first, Poitras picks up the loose ball and lays it in. Poitras had just 4 points. Pistons win the game 73-68. Marcus Teague and the Mavericks taking on the Orlando White team in the first game of the day on July 4th. Teague had 7 points in the first half. In the second, former Wildcat knocks down the 3 from the wing. Later in the third, how about Teague off the bounce, driving, muscling and scoring, plus the foul. Teague finishes with 13 points, 5 assists, and a Mavs 92-85 loss to Orlando. And last night, number 1 pick Ben Simmons making his NBA debut in the first game of the Utah Summer League. Sixers taking on the Celtics. Simmons, that's an easy finish on the run out. He had 10, but would leave the game with cramps. 2-point game in the fourth. How about the former Cat James Young driving, elevating, and getting that one to go. Young, 8 points, 6 rebounds, and a new hairstyle. Celtics win 102-94. Tonight on the Big Blue Insider with Dick Gabriel, Thomas, T.J. Beisner of CN2, and NBA beat writer Brett Dawson on Kevin Durant's controversial decision. That's all coming up at 6 on 630 WLAP. Guys, that's a look at sports on your Tuesday.
Okay, that should be fun. Lots going on. Thank you, Dave.
There's more to come in our next half hour of WKYT News at noon. 3
people are facing drug charges after a bust in Boyle County. And rescue crews had to pull a driver from rising floodwaters in southern Kentucky after his car got stuck in a swollen creek. We'll tell you how they were able to reach him coming up at 12:30.
Tonight's Mega Millions jackpot is a whopping $449 million. And tomorrow night's Powerball jackpot is $257 million.